Darling, don't be afraid, I will love you 4,000.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's this big dramatic scene. Everyone's on stage, drowning or swimming.
That's right.
And it's like you're singing this song, and none of us know the words.
Nope.
Yeah, what was our tagline? It was like, the sponge, we soak up the news and wring it out on you.
Yep, that is exactly it.
80. We do 80 each day. Maybe we can get a couple sales, right?
It's that mentality of once you have one, you need a lot more for other people to click. What was it? One of the Lost Boys? I don't even know if I had a name.
Yeah, you did. I think you were Ted, right?
Oh, yep, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I was Ted, the fat Lost Boy, I believe. I think that was probably his full title at the time. Okay,
Yo,
all right.
this day
might
sucks.
might not be a great day in history.
Welcome back to the Jordan Whitrock Show. I'm your host, Jordan Whitrock, and today we have a special guest, someone who's been with me through the thick of it. When I started my live streaming, he was there with me. When I talked about all of the podcasting stuff way back in the day, like 5 years ago, which is crazy to think about. We'll get into that. He was there helping me out. So without further ado, let's welcome to the show, Micah Schoff. Woo!
Thank you.
Okay. I was thinking about this the other day because I was like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
And I was like, Micah was he taught me how to do podcasting stuff originally before I went to school and like mastered it a little bit in that way. Like, you were the one that was like, hey, this is how you record audio. Yeah. This is how you put it into a system that can, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, right. I remember that would have been my senior year, your junior year, right?
Wait,
yes.
Your senior?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was what? Soft.
Did we start that in the fall?
I thought it was post-soccer.
Yeah, I think it was like post-soccer, fall going into winter, because our last like episode or two were COVID.
Yes,
COVID hit,
correct.
so we were doing it together, and then we were like, well, how are we going to do this now? And we're like, okay, I guess we can like do a Zoom call.
Yeah, I think we tried like Discord.
I know, we didn't even do Discord. I don't even think I had Discord at that time.
Oh, okay.
We did a Zoom call, and then you only had an hour long for like your
that's
meeting.
Right, the free like school subscription or whatever it was.
So it was like, all right, we got to get in A, B, C, D, whatever. But that podcast is called The Sponge. I think we spent like a day and a half trying to figure out that name.
Oh yeah, I remember us sitting at your dining room table, coming up with names, and like, I mean, when you're coming up with things, anything's usable.
Yeah.
And that was also the issue, and we somehow ended up on The Sponge.
Yeah, what was our tagline? It was like, the sponge, we soak up the news and wring it out on you.
Yep, that is exactly it. I was trying to remember it on the way here. I was like, what was it again? Yep. I think that is exactly
Dude, I remember I went up to my mom, because obviously like this was like the proudest thing I've ever, done.
Right.
And I was like, yo, like, this is the name we chose, The Sponge. She was like, oh. Which also like wasn't the reaction I wanted.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, okay. Like, have you done research on the name?" And I was like, "Yeah. Like, no one else has used it for a podcast." And she's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Well, just so you guys know, like," and this would have been after we released like episode 1 or something like that. Right. She's like, "Just so you know, like, this was like a woman's product, like brand name back in like this 80s or whatever." And I'm like, "What?"
I mean, it's not around now.
It is true. It did. I don't know if actually. I wonder if I bet it. I wonder who bought it out. Look it up, Alex. Oh wait, we got Alex in the studio. He's working our tech.
I'm back.
Look up The Sponge, like women's products. See if the company like went out or got bought out by a company.
Watch it be a Kimberly Clark product, made in Wisconsin.
Dude, if only. But we would Wait, you got it?
And the birth control. Hold on. I don't know. Give me a second.
Wait, is it just like a birth control company?
No, it's like that's not the company. I guess that's the. Hold on. AI might be.
Maybe it's just the name of the product.
I thought it was just slang.
Yeah, maybe it was the name of like the product, but not the company. The
sponge for women can refer to a few different types of products, primarily focusing on feminine hygiene and, in some cases, birth control.
Okay,
oh,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was products, not necessarily a company.
What
does it say? What company? Like, Like I haven't done this slave research in like 5 years. But you know what's funny? Like I remember, so like we did this in my basement because it was like the quietest place. We had one microphone. It was your microphone that you had, I think.
Yeah, we had the two-way because you could flip it.
Yeah, and then I got a Blue Yeti.
Yep.
Which actually just recently I think it stopped working, but I didn't want to get rid of it, right?
Yeah,
So I put it in a box in the basement. I was like, maybe if I need it at some point. But I was like, but then I got that one or whatever. But I remember that first time we recorded. Well, actually, I just remember I was doing some college classes at Oshkosh at the time. And I remember sitting in that class, probably should have been paying attention, you know, and I was just like coming up with ideas that we were going to talk about that night. I remember just like, oh, that's a good, like, because our idea was like we wanted to do news.
Yeah. We
wanted to talk about like what are some big events happening, but then we wanted some like fun segments. I forget what some of those segments were. We had like, it wasn't like word of the day, but it was something along the lines of like top 5.
I want to say whatever. It was like, it was either ranking or we like set a question and we both just talked about it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was fun.
Honestly, it was good. I think COVID cooked us though, but then and also I think we were just busy too, so it was hard to like, actually get like do something consistent when we don't have it set. We had no idea how to promote it. Like it was just like I don't think we told anyone really about it.
No. I mean,
that,
it was online.
It's on YouTube. You could find it.
Could you still find it?
Yeah, 100%. And you can find it. You can find it on maybe Spotify. I'm not 100% sure because we used Anchor, but Anchor got bought out by Spotify.
Oh,
yeah. So which kind of sucks because Anchor,
because we were making money.
I was gonna say Anchor, you could like get ads obviously from Anchor. And like it was an easier process, but then they were like, well, if you want to just like shout out our podcasting company, we'll give you like a cent per.
I think we were up to
10 views or something like that.
15 cents?
It was good. We were making some bank and but yeah, then we slowly fell away or whatever. But I remember the first time we did it, it was in this room. It was like the first time I was in this room. I don't know if you remember.
Oh wait.
This room does not look like it does now though.
No.
Isaac moved in here.
Was this the night that we were up until like 5 in the morning?
Okay. So what happened was I didn't have any technology to like actually record it. I was just like the idea guy of like, hey, we should start a podcast. This would be really cool. We could do boom, boom, boom. And you were like, that's dope. And then I was like, yeah, but I don't have the equipment to do it. And you're like, oh, okay, like maybe we can figure it out.
Did I bring a computer over?
Yeah, you brought your whole PC setup.
That's
right. You had to bring the monitor, the whole like tower, everything, and we had it set up on the desk that used to be there,
right?
And because that's like where my TV or whatever was, and we sat in that corner and we like did the first episode, which took us like maybe 6 hours.
It was a long time
because we just had to like figure out what we wanted to use. What did we use for the audio? Was it like Audacity maybe?
It was Audacity. The free one.
Yeah, the free Audacity. We used that, and it only could give us one wave. And then we tried to do 2 microphones off of one computer. But I don't know why it wouldn't work, but it totally would work.
It totally should work.
Like, I would know how to do that now, but obviously we had no idea.
Then?
Yeah, obviously we had no idea how to do that, so we just went back down to one mic and just be like sitting way closer than what we are now.
Yeah. We were like on the opposite sides of like a bench you would sit on at that point.
Yeah.
It was tight.
That's right. I forgot we stayed up that late.
I remember it was like a coffee at like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, you're right. And we had to make like all of our accounts for like...
Right, because we had to set up...
Did we even make an Instagram for that? It might have just been YouTube and like theoretically... Anchor was really nice because you could send it to Apple and all that stuff, but you had to make accounts. Yeah. So we had to make accounts for everything.
It was definitely YouTube because we had the Gmail set up so we could do the Anchor. And we were like, oh, well, we might as well do YouTube as well.
Yeah. Which I'm happy we do because obviously I'm more native to YouTube. So it's like it's nice to be able to just be like, yeah, okay, there it is, you know. But it's so funny because like the first I don't know if we did 9 episodes, I think. I don't know, something like that. It was actually kind of crazy that we did that many.
Single digits.
Well, and you know what we also did too was I was very impatient, especially at that time, not really understanding how shows work. So like for this show, I think I recorded 2 or 3 episodes before we even started posting, and we did it 1 a week. But in my brain back then, I was like, okay, what we got to do is like record like 7 episodes, but like release them day after day after day after day, so that we just have so then we have bank that like people when they go to the channel, they
have more
to
listen to.
They have more to listen to. And like that was my thought process. The only thing is you got to find 7 days to like sit down and.
Well, you also have to find 7 days. Or 7 episodes worth of content, which at that point was like, all right, here's some 5 current events.
Dude, did we have like, were there any wars going on when we did ours? No, I think that must have been after.
That was after.
I kind of want to go
It was
back
like-
to like.
I
I remember one of the segments was like day in history. So
yes,
it was like
correct.
So
correct.
we
Today
just
in
went
history.
down.
That's right.
We just went down, like we looked up a list and just went down the top 10 things that happened
Yep.
in like the day that we were
Well,
recording.
That's also how we decided when we were gonna post it. Because
Yeah.
I think I remember us recording. We're like, oh wait, but this is a cool day in the history. So and it was like 3 days away, and we'd post it then. Which I mean,
wait. Okay,
fair enough.
Alex, look up what's today's history like.
today in history is probably
And we're recording this on the 23rd, so
June 23rd.
yeah.
Is it like the Britannica?
No, I think,
It should be
if
like
you
a
just-
general
yeah, if it-
website. I mean, it could be on Britannica, but
otherwise I think it'll probably just pop up
yeah,
if you search.
that's my guess. But okay, that's so
History.
funny.
On this day.
I feel like we've done so many weird things like that together, and it's like I don't think I would have done that with anyone else. And so like I think streaming, I started streaming, and you were like the first person that was like on the mod side of it that was helping
Yeah.
me because I didn't understand any of that.
Right,
I was
right.
like, dude, I want like a camera, and like to live stream, and my setup was jank as heck, and we had Ollie at the time was like streaming with me. But
Right.
then I was like, I don't really know how to like do the tech side, so I was like, Micah, how do we make a Discord? I was like that's all the stuff. Like those, you were the guy that I always
Discord.
went to for the tech. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know.
Right,
This
right.
doesn't make sense.
Oh, it says 2016 United Kingdom votes in Brexit referendum to leave the
Oh,
European Union.
Brexit.
Yep.
yeah. Any other big names?
The first contraceptive pill in 1960
Oh, okay,
made
all right,
available to
and we're
purchase
back
in
to
the
the
US.
first.
1972 Hurricane Agnes, America's
okay.
costliest natural disaster.
Okay,
Yo,
all right.
this day
Might
sucks.
might not be a great day in history.
Yeah, really, it's not. Hold on, let's go to sports.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
maybe we'll
Yeah,
get some
yeah,
good
yeah,
news
yeah,
there.
yeah. Oh, it probably maybe
Baseball.
Yeah, baseball.
Baseball.
Maybe a
Yeah.
finals?
Barry
Okay.
Bonds steals second base against the LA Dodgers, becoming the first player in
Okay.
MLB history to have 500 career home runs and 500 steals.
Okay.
I was gonna say
just
stealing second base. I was like,
damn,
that's
this
lame.
day sucks.
Oof. That'd be some boring news.
Oh, that's so funny. All right, thank you, Alex.
Yeah, that's
I'm glad we know that.
Film.
Oh, film.
1989, Batman premiered, directed by Tim Burton, starring Michael Keaton.
Oh,
and Jack
okay,
Nicholson.
okay, that's hey,
We've got one good one.
it's a good one. I like it. All right, W. No, but so it's just so funny that you've always helped me with technology. And then I remember I moved rooms and I was like, I think I was working at Alliance that summer. I didn't really stream or anything. Like I stopped and I was like, I hate my life because all I'm doing is working.
Right.
And I was like, but I wasn't doing anything fun after it or whatever. And I was like, I've always had this itch to do YouTube, but I was like, I was always too like shy or be like, oh, what would people say if they found out, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think it took me graduating high school first off to like being like, okay, now these people,
Fair.
they don't have to care about me. I don't care about them.
Right.
But first off, I was never gonna put my name on anything. So my username was Rangers Gen X.
Rangers
right?
Gen X.
And I remember the first video I had was like Battlefront 2 clip. It was me as Bosk, and there was just a bunch of like clouds or whatever, like gas that I think I probably threw, and I was just jumping up and down with a snipe and just randomly shot and killed a guy, and I was like, yo.
That
But-
one's going on YouTube.
Yeah, but then I remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna get back into streaming. We got to get a actually no, we didn't even have a camera at this time. It was just the gameplay, and that's when you and I got into Fall Guys.
That's right.
And I remember I was like, oh, this kind of seems like a fun game. It was Fall Guys, and then the other game that we got back into. So like right before that, we played Smite a little bit.
Right.
And then
That's right.
I was doing nothing. I was probably just playing video games for fun. I was like, I should turn this to at least feel like I'm doing something better.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, what's this game that we downloaded like 5 months ago that I haven't touched? And it was Smite. And so I got back into it. I was like, Micah, you got to get back into this game. And then you and I just played Smite for like a good portion of that summer or whatever. And
We put a lot of hours into that game.
that game I think I've played the most of by far.
I
Like,
think-
out of everything. But I also had a lot of like personal hours, like
Yeah.
of just grinding,
That's-
which I usually don't do. But that game got me.
That game is one that I like literally cannot play alone. I just get so frustrated. That's where like if
Yeah.
you are on, Josh is
Yeah,
on, like
yeah.
all right, we got a squad.
We still
this
gotta
joust
get.
is gonna be
We still
winnable.
gotta get 5.
It's true.
Alex, you don't like Smite? You would never play Smite 2? I think we
Smite
talked
2.
about this.
It's free, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah, I'd play
Yeah.
it. I have a friend that would play it too.
Because it would be we would have
potentially
4
5.
technically, but if assuming one of us couldn't play on a
Yeah.
night, we
Right,
would then
right.
have another set of 5.
We need our alternate, or we get 10 and run some private 5v5s.
There's some old gameplay of like when I watch, I'm like, wow, we suck. Like some of the stuff, and then
That's gonna be me.
And then like we're yelling, we're like, oh god, like this is so dumb, like it's your fault or your fault. And I'm looking, I'm like, it's everyone's fault. I'm like, well, Jordan, why are you even there? And why are you calling for help? And then Drake, why are you going to help him across map? Like you were the last person to help. Like someone else should have been helping.
That's why I chose the carry role, because I would just sit in my lane the whole time, never join team fights, take down the towers, and then be
just
like,
trying to get that farm. You know.
Well, I'm at 20 now. I can help.
Dude, that like. I remember being frustrated because jungle is a very important role in the sense of like
Oh, absolutely.
I think there's other roles I think that are maybe more important. Like carry is more important. I think carry is just like especially the one that's more important than others, depending on characters or whatever, can change or whatever.
Yeah.
But jungle might be maybe that second in the games that we're playing, low lobbies. And none of us wanted to play jungle because we didn't understand it. And I finally was like, and this would have been like a year or so ago, and I was like, you know what? Screw this. We're getting cooked every time because we have a terrible jungle. I'm going to learn how to play jungle.
Yeah.
And it took a little bit, but then I found Arachne. And as soon as I found Arachne, then we were good. But then I was a one-trick pony, so if this countered her, then I was cooked. But then same thing with Smite 2. I was like, I'm going to keep doing... And so like I've got a couple guys that I can play now in jungle. So I think we just need a mage, theoretically.
Yeah.
Because I think Drake and Josh play that Guardian or solo. They switch between that if you did carry jungle. So Alex, if you get Smite 2, start practicing that mage. It's the middle lane.
It's a fun role.
The middle. Nah, I think I did play mage.
Oh.
Hey.
Hold on. Let me look up a list of characters.
Yeah. It should be the same if you go to Smite 2, but...
There's like, what, 2 brand new characters?
I don't even know.
I mean, I play Soul and Izanami, so... I really wouldn't know.
Dude, I don't know why Thanatos just really works for me on Smite 2.
Yeah.
Couldn't really play him the first Smite.
Are you still on controller?
Yep. Yeah, because, see, the thing is, when Smite 2 came out, I was like, I'm going to learn how to play keyboard as well. Fuck that shit. I was just getting roasted, and I was like, dude, I could be cooking these guys if I had a controller. And then I did some research, and then like, the top players were like, if you're not going to go pro for the game, and you just enjoy it, do what's most comfortable, which for most people would be like, if you're in my case scenario, because I had an Xbox, to PC, is like, just use controller,
right?
Because you're not going to spend, and I was like, I'm not going to spend that time. You know who is impressive though? Drake switched from controller to keyboard.
Oh, that's
so
right.
He's playing.
That's
keyboard.
right, because
and it's actually insane. Because I'm like,
he went from Xbox to PC.
Yeah, he had PlayStation. That's why we could never play any games with him, other than like the ones that.
That's right.
But I didn't know that Smite 2 is not on Xbox One or PlayStation 4. So I think it's only on new gens or something like that.
I wonder why.
I was trying to get more people to play, and they're like,
"It's like free to play."
It's not on. I wonder if it's like a new gen or something like that.
Yeah,
engine
something
5
to sell
or whatever.
Sell more. Oh, that's actually right. Actually,
yeah,
it's on what, Unreal Engine 5 or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah,
that was like their upgrade.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of lame though. But I'm trying to think of another. I know one, but I'm trying to think of another thing that we did together. Like a business thing that we did together. But I don't know if we did anything necessarily. But the one that comes to mind. Wait, Alex just had an epiphany.
It took me way too long to find the character. But no, it's Hunter. I played Hunter.
Okay, so you
carry.
played a carry.
Carry.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the Hunter usually plays as the carry.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of confusing because like there's 2 different names for each like role kind of thing.
Gotcha. I could definitely switch because I wasn't that good.
Well, and you've also played mage, so we could also just go back and forth and see which is our best.
Yeah.
I used to play as Scotty, and that's all I did.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, I don't even think she's in the new game, so.
so you can switch.
No, I don't think she is. Not yet.
No, not yet. You played as Scotty a little bit.
That was a fun character.
Yeah, I could. Well, it's so hers is very tough if you don't have a point and click kind of. Like on controller, it's a nightmare because you have to like perfectly line it, and it sucks.
Well, I feel like
that
was most of like the carries or mages.
Yeah, and that's probably why
it's less button spam, more.
I stayed with
point and click.
Yeah. No. Okay, but what I was gonna say is our last business proposition that we got into.
Yeah.
Was called AKA
Top Line.
I think that was another. We stayed up till like 3 a.m.
Well, no. What that one was is so we had the idea, right?
Yeah.
Of
So it was I don't know what they're
affiliate.
Yeah, so it's an affiliate store.
Yeah.
So what we do is it's that whole idea of like you take people's products but promote them.
Yeah.
On like either your stuff or whatever, and then you can, if they buy that product through you, you can get like a 10 cents or something like that.
2% percentage or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you can do that through like Amazon or Pinterest or eBay or whatever.
Right.
And so you were saying that it didn't take 1 day. Is that because we just had to wait for some of the stuff to load? Like Amazon, I think took like 3 days. For us to become
Amazon.
an affiliate.
Well, we had to get approved on Amazon, but the issue it took so long for us to choose a name is because we were like, okay, we need to set up a Gmail to set up all these like accounts with Amazon. And we just kept typing in names, and none of them worked because, of course, we pre-planned some of these names.
Yeah, you're right.
And then we're typing them in, and it's like, well, that one doesn't
one's
work.
already used. That's got to be like the hardest thing is like trying to find a name for something.
Dude, especially if you have to make an account that carries the name. It's like half of them have been eaten up by bots.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be top or AKA top line like 3.7.
Yeah, right. It's like I don't need numbers on the end of my name. That's why, you know what, my like gamer tag Beastie, way too simple, right?
That is way too simple. That means you had been like the first guy on every
Exactly. And there's already like a YouTuber with like, I don't know, 500K or something under that name. So it's like, well, I'm screwed there anyway.
Yeah, true.
But my old name used to be Johnny Blue Pants.
Yeah, because that.
Right?
No, literally, because they would be there. It alternate. It kind of threw me off at the start because I didn't understand.
Well, because I mean, Johnny Blue Pants, I inherited from my brothers because that's how the account started.
Okay.
So like the account was just kind of passed on as people like moved out of the house.
Yep.
So then I finally changed it to Beastie, but luckily when you combine the two to Beastie Blue Pants, it's open for everything.
Beastie Blue Pants. I've never seen that username though.
It sticks with the history.
I've never seen that username.
Discord.
It's changed to that?
Well,
I just always see it as Beastie.
it is Beastie, but like the actual like the friend
tag,
one.
The tag or whatever. Yeah. Okay, got you. Yeah. But so that was a crazy story because we were doing good. Like we were pumping some stuff.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a crazy night.
Well, that was okay. So we started our Pinterest. We're like loading up images.
Yeah.
Using Canva.
Yeah, using Canva, splicing it, trying to get the best images
Which like
of people.
we were crushing it.
Yeah, we were killing it. I think Pinterest thought they were threatened by us.
They were threatened by us, and it's like okay, like we make. I forget if it was you or me made like one more post.
No. So what they say is like if it's an affiliate, like Pinterest obviously doesn't like just a ton of affiliates.
Yeah, right.
Then it's just like, and a
bunch of links.
I get it, and so I think they say they recommend for like 5 a day, but we didn't know that at the time.
No.
So what we were thinking was like, hey, if you make like 40 and I make 40, then we got 80. We do 80 each day. Maybe we can get a couple sales, right?
It's that mentality of once you have one, you need a lot more for other people to click
just
on.
like the podcast. Maybe that never went away.
I mean,
but I remember there was one. I don't know what you were doing, but we were making them. I remember I was downstairs in the living room and we were watching a movie with the family, and I just had my laptop on my lap, and I'm just like pumping this shit out. I'm like, dude, this is so much fun. I'm like, we're getting so many impressions.
Right.
I'm like, and then all of a sudden it like locks, and I'm like, huh. It's like, oh, you've been like signed out of your account. Like, you gotta re-sign in. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe like it just was like a Micah and I were on the same time.
Yeah,
It was just confused. Someone thinking you got hacked, and I tried to log in. It's like, oh, sorry, you can't log in. And I was like, texting Micah, like, hey, are you still in the Pinterest? Which I think you got off right before that.
I did.
So you thought you were still in,
right?
And I can't remember if you actually were able to get in or like how that happened.
The issue was we could get into the account, but we couldn't do anything in the account.
I don't think I was able to get into the account at all.
Well, I was able to get in because we were the amount of emails I sent to support because I was just so pissed.
Yeah.
Like we probably had like 25, 30 posts
No,
already.
we had more than that, 100%.
It was there were so many emails written, and it was the same response every time. It's like, no, you're not getting it back. It's like, come on.
That was frustrating because I think that was like, was that like this last winter? No, it had to been like
no.
When was that?
It was probably at least 2 years ago. Maybe it were winter though. Sounds right. You were still in school.
So maybe that's
I would say after
Last
my
spring?
sophomore year.
I don't feel like it was that long ago though. You know what we could do though? I think I have
junior.
I think I have my Canva and it's some of those images. I wonder if it tells me when
I
those in.
I go through the files on my desktop and I see them every once in a while. It's a nice little reminder
of how we got cooked. But I'm watching these. I'm looking at these big affiliate people that are like thousands of posts, and I'm like
pulling in like $15K a month.
I'm like, and what? like, how do we get tagged?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the government taking down the little guy again, you know?
Always happens. Always gets us. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, but
It was a great idea, though.
no, it was fun. Maybe we should try to do it again. Nah, so much work.
It was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. But now we know how to do it.
It's true.
So we could do it
5 a
quicker.
day.
5 a day.
5 posts a day.
Yeah.
Max.
I think probably most of those impressions were us looking at them, though.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it was like, oh, this one Jordan did. Oh, cool. Okay.
Yo, look, we're up three impressions on
Or it's
this.
like, I mean, I would
4
always
times.
like click on it after it was published.
Yeah, to make
go
sure.
to the link, make sure it like actually loads.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've probably.
Yeah, probably maybe all those clicks.
I mean,
were
we
us.
had one that was well into the double digits. Like it was at least 40.
That is true.
And I really don't think
I
that
don't
we
think
could have done that.
We might have, though. You know, YouTube videos do that sometimes. Like, if you just, like, click them, they'll just do another view or something like that. And sometimes those bigger creators, I'm like, I'll give them a view, you know? Like,
Yeah, right.
I appreciate your content. Got me through some hard times. I'll give
Yeah.
you a view, you know, sometimes. Or, like, it'll be, like, a small creator, and I'll be like, I know what it's like to be you. I was like, I'll click your video, even though I won't say anything. I'll just, like, I'll make sure I watch, like, at least 50% of it so it doesn't get
Gets the
downgraded.
view, yeah.
It doesn't get downgraded through the YouTube saying that people just clicked it and left it,
Right,
you know?
right.
It's like, I got you. It's looking out for the little people.
Yeah.
On, like, Pinterest. All right, no. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was... So, the other thing I wanted to talk about was obviously... I didn't know you for, like, ever. What musical... So, I feel like the first time we would have met would have been musical of some sort. Did you do any musicals in middle school?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do...
The one Mr. Riley wrote?
Yep, that would have been your 6th grade, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. I don't remember you in that. Like, I don't remember hanging out or talking to you at all.
See, I barely remember that.
Yeah.
I remember Sam Massetti in that.
I do remember him in that.
But that was about it.
Yeah. And
And then it was an awful show.
Yeah. And then Footloose. Oh, wait, no. Footloose, I do remember you. Because you were the fun friend.
Fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, that's another slight memory.
Yeah, I
Were
feel like
you somehow?
I was the
You were a
dad.
father,
I was the
right?
dad
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
like
yeah.
the only guy in Footloose, the musical about singing and dancing that didn't do any of it. And I was like, this is fun. But it's like one of those things where you typecast because you're like the oldest, tallest kid in the cast.
Exactly,
And it's like,
yeah.
oh, you're the dad. And it's like,
Get the wrinkles drawn on.
cool. On this day that we're preaching, you know. No, but okay, that's right. So that I do remember you in my 8th grade year, and then you guys did Wizard of no. What was your? No, that was the year after.
Oh,
that was your freshman
Anything
year.
Goes.
Anything
the
Goes.
The youth version.
Yeah.
But thinking back to it, we might have met in the middle school level soccer.
Yes, but like we didn't talk,
Yes, yeah.
or at least I don't remember us like.
I guess
doing
I
this.
was probably talking more to Isaac at that point.
Maybe, yeah, probably.
But yeah.
Because you're in between Isaac and I,
Right,
age-wise.
right.
Because then your freshman year would have been the first year I feel like we like talked.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we were necessarily like friends, but it was like, oh, like we could actually sit down, have a conversation,
Right.
all that stuff.
I mean,
that
we
normal
were in the
stuff.
same band,
Yep,
in musical.
yep. Mhm.
We're in
And
the same
then-
classes, but
What I was gonna say is like I think our friendship really started was your sophomore, my junior year when we did Oklahoma.
yeah.
And I don't know why necessarily, but for some reason, I just felt like all of a sudden we just clicked. And then that's when I met Ben, because I didn't
right.
no idea about, like, really didn't know Ben. And then that's when us three started hanging out.
Yeah, yeah.
And like when I think back to that, I'm like, how did like that even happen?
It is such a random group.
You know, it's like I remember like us goofing around backstage. I remember like during dress rehearsal, like the show or one or two before we did the actual live, like we were singing Sound of Music right before I was supposed to go on and sing my to
exactly.
open the show, and the music builds up, and I walk on stage and I just start singing The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music for Oklahoma.
We would try to mess you up every
and
single
then,
time.
At that time, I got a little carried away. I did lose focus, and then Miss P was like, "What the?" I was like, "My bad. No, it won't happen again," and it didn't. But
No, it did not.
But I just think that's funny because like that's like the first time I like went on like ATVs and stuff with Ben. Well, I gotta get Ben on the podcast. We're gonna get him sometime, but he's just been busy.
That's true.
But like us three were doing a lot of stuff. But then that same year was the year like right at the end or. No, I think at like the same time, that's when I became close friends with, like I was always kind of friends with Tyler up to that
Yep.
point, but I became friends with like Tyler, Jonah, and Adler.
Adler, right.
So it was us four, and then it was like you two and me, and I was like, there's really no reason that like we could all hang out together.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, just like I don't know if it would work, how that would go, but I was like, we should all be able to. And then I don't even know what our first time we did hang out, but I probably was like, yo, would you guys mind if they came over to like probably Ben's parents or something like that?
I think it was definitely Tyler first because we all played soccer.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, here comes
maybe that's
Adler
what it
and
was.
Jonah.
Yeah.
And Selly.
And then Tyler brought in the Mitchell Tommy group or whatever.
Yes, because Tyler was
Tyler was friends with
Tommy
them. Yeah,
and
close
Tommy's
to that family
friend.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But I just think it's so funny because it's just such a weird group that like formed, and we're like pretty tight. And I know that they want to do an episode where we get all 8 of us. Like,
Dude, it would be crazy.
It would be crazy. We'd probably have to get a couple more mics. Alex wouldn't have a mic because we wouldn't have enough. You know, I'm trying to think if like we'd be able to hold this mic, or if it would like make weird noises. There's a chance that it would make weird noises, but maybe we'd get away with it. I don't know. So that's in the back of my mind or whatever. But what I wanted to talk about was we had some good shows. We did Addams Family, which was a blast.
Great show.
It's still probably top of shows that I've done in my lifetime. And then we did Oklahoma, which was another banger for like the little work that felt like it was put into by like the director, and you know, it's we pulled that together. Then we did Clue. That was a good show. That was a good show, but that was just a rough time because we were. No, did you do soccer that year or no? Yes, you didn't do it your senior year.
Correct.
Yeah, so you and I were both in soccer.
Yep.
Trying to make that work with rehearsals after soccer.
Yep.
It's just like a nightmare, you know. But we did it. We got through it. Which then leads us to the last show that I did with you at
my
high
God.
school. Which I don't know if I've actually formally apologized to you for that, but
Dude, it wasn't me.
I remember up until that point, we'd had so many banger shows. Like for me, it was Sound of Music was my first show.
Right.
Addams Family, which was my second show. Oklahoma, which was my third show.
Right.
And in 2 of those shows, I had the lead. And then my freshman year, I was the oldest son, which is like another decent role.
Arguably.
Yeah. So it's like it was good up to that point, right? And so then I think we went on some like we went on some theater tour or something like we went to go see other shows like competition or something at like the high school level.
I don't think I went on that trip.
Okay, maybe you didn't go, but that's where we went, and it's like a play. It's cool. You get to see a lot of like high schoolers do monologues, and for us, our drama department wasn't that big at all. So like we never did anything. Like that was never thought about, right? And so we got new directors in, and they were like, well, let's do this because like let's go like experience something, which I was like, that's cool, let's do it. So we went to it where they had like monologues and shows, but one of the shows that was put on was Peter and the Starcatcher. But none of us cast went to it. I think we went to a different show, but all the tech people went to that show with the director. And they were like, they walked out of that show being like, we need to do that show. And I can't fault them because technically, like the technical side of it is fun.
Right.
Like if I was them sitting in the booth, that would be a lot of fun to like mess around with it. But when you look at it from an actor standpoint of someone who did Sound of Music, Addams Family, Oklahoma,
coming from bangers,
going to Peter the Starcatcher, I'm like, well, that like, kind of like when you're in a sport, you're like, senior is going to be the best because this is what we've been working up to.
Right.
And it's like, oh, this is this show. Okay. Yeah. And I remember like everyone was like, I'm not going to audition for it, you included. And I was like, I remember the basketball guys were coming up to me because I played basketball, started all that stuff through like 7th grade. And I stopped 8th grade to do musicals. And they were like, hey, it was senior year. They're like, hey, you should come out because like, we should be able to have a good enough team to like make it deep in the playoffs. Like if you get back into it, you'll be fine. And there was part of me that I was like, shoot. I was like, do we do it? But then I was like, no. The reasons why I stopped playing was like, that wouldn't work, you know. But I was like, well, then if I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna not do the show my senior year, right? So then I started going around petitioning to people and being like, hey, let's do the show.
We
like
gotta do it.
We don't have any let's just do it. I think I guilt tripped you saying like, dude, this is the last time we're ever gonna act together. Like,
it's true.
Which is it still? Was that our last time? I don't know if we've acted anything since.
I don't think so.
All right, we'll have to fix that.
Yes.
But so it was just like all those things, and I remember the audition process, and then the cast list came out, and I was like, oh, bro, I didn't get the role I wanted, and I was like, this sucks. I'm like, it's like the role you got. You were like.
What was it? One of the Lost Boys? I don't even know if I had a name.
Yeah, you did. I think you were Ted, right?
Oh, yep, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I was Ted, the fat Lost Boy, I believe. I think that was probably his full title at the time. Yeah, You know, that show was terrible. Don't get me wrong. The technical side was great. The scenery was actually really cool. The fact that it was like super minimal, but like you could do everything because it was like we were using like a palette.
So the idea of the
something.
show, which I know, so ironically, I did this one in college as well. Like after I did it in high school,
which was great.
It was announced in college, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. The one show I hate, like if you would have asked me up to that point, the show that I hated the most that I wish I never would, I could never do again would be that one because that experience was so rough because it was not organized. The idea of the show is that like you use like miscellaneous things, so it's not like you wouldn't use a sword for a sword. You wouldn't use, a bed as a bed, like kind of thing. Like you'd use like blocks or whatever that is. It's more like
abstract.
Thank you. Abstract is the word I was looking for. Which is cool, but when it's not executed properly or there's not a solid plan, it gets really confusing, and then there's no buy-in. And for us, most of the cast was already like, yo, like we thought we were gonna do. We had good kids in the program at that time, and it was like we could have done something like really cool.
Yeah.
And now we're doing this. Like this sucks. And then I think because the execution was just kind of poor, and I can't blame them. It was their first. Like it was the first time they were directing at the school, so it's like you got so many problems that way that you got to sort out. And so I just remember being like that this is terrible, but we had a lot of fun stuff that we did like behind stage.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, that was always the best part about doing these shows is like if you're in a good show, it's already fun to be out on stage like with everybody else. Yeah. If you're in like a mediocre show or like even if you don't like your role that much, backstage is just where it's at. I mean, you can put on a performance out front, but it's like, I mean, the amount of stuff we would do. I remember playing hide and seek back there in the costume racking. I saw some Snapchat.
That wasn't during show though. That was during
post.
No. Remember we did a movie night.
Oh, that's right.
And we were like sneaking into places we shouldn't have been sneaking in. Like we went through the whole like. I don't know, rafter system of the
lighting,
like the theater, like the lighting.
Yeah.
Went back into like the back booth, the secret entrance there and stuff like. And then we were doing the time snaps. That's what probably you were talking about. We were in the costume shop, and it was like, how far could you run down and hide before they took a picture?
Yeah. See, but like that's what made it fun. Well, I mean, that show did suck, and like, okay, we didn't have the band for it. Nobody came out for that. And the band members that did tried their best, I guess. But I don't know. It was definitely a miserable way to end the high school acting for you.
Yeah, and then it was taught, and so then I went to college being like, dude, do I even want to do this shit? And luckily we were able to figure out what, that stuff,
right?
That trauma, or whatever you want to call it. But I just remember that show. There was, I just don't think I properly apologized for making you do that. But I think we had fun.
Oh,
I only had fun probably because you were in it that way. But
it was like, what else was I supposed to do? I was in the same.
We didn't have we were doing shows. Like, remember we performed for the kids, and we didn't have the song that the intermission song memorized. None of us did.
Yeah.
Like literally,
that was the mermaid one?
No.
Or was that post?
It was like the ships were sinking. It was the wreckage scene or whatever, and it was like this. It's this big dramatic scene. Everyone's on stage, drowning or swimming.
That's right.
And it's like you're singing this song, and none of us know the words.
Nope.
Like, it's like you get to this point, and everyone starts going. And it's like
there was one singular person who knew the words.
Yeah, she knew the words.
She knew dialogue too.
That's true of other people's stuff. But I remember being like, and then up until that point, I didn't care about the show, and then we did that, and I was like, oh, I don't want this to be like a part
embarrassing.
I don't want to embarrass everyone and myself,
right?
And so then it was like lock in for these like last rehearsal or whatever to like get it memorized, get it figured out, and whatever. But I remember like that one song, the Vino Noco something whatever. None of us knew the words, so we had to like have them on the back of our shields or taped to the back of the shields. But then they were only like every other were taped, and some nights they would all end up on like one side. So then like I'd end up on the side that didn't have any, and I'm like, mother, I was like, son of a gun.
I was so happy to not be a part of that song. I just had to stand in like center stage and stay silent the whole time.
See, but everything happens for a reason, because then when I did it in college, I got the role that I originally wanted in high school. And like there was still some things that like I caught myself a couple times arguing with the director, and like in a nice way of like, hey, just your blocking makes no sense. Like, why wouldn't I just kill this person? You have me right next to them, and that's the person I'm mad at. Like, There's just like, if I'm an audience member, I'm seeing that and being like, this is weird, you know, and like little things like that I'm like, how are we not seeing this? And then like other actors be like, no, it's fine. It's like, no, I would kill you. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I'm like, but like that made more sense. Like, and I think coming from that high school experience, I was like, oh, this is how the show is supposed to go.
Yeah.
You know, this makes more sense. Like,
I mean, but that wasn't your first show at college, right?
no.
Did you have one full season beforehand? Was that
Technically, that was my junior year.
Oh, okay. See, because like I feel like you also then gained the experience to see that and speak to the director in a way that it's like,
although, yeah, probably
respectful, but also like, hey, this makes no sense to me.
That show was just so doing that in college was tough because the director really went with the abstract, like, hey, it's a director that usually is like, hey, do it my way.
Yep.
Like, maybe we could talk about it, but it's probably gonna be my way.
Yep.
And she went for this like completely, and I don't know if she just had a lot going on in her life and like with the school and all that stuff, the department, that she was like, I just don't have time to really like nitpick everything anymore. Yep. So like,
that's fair.
Her idea was like, hey, like what I'm gonna do is have you guys kind of choose some things to do and run with it. And like, I think when you become an upperclassman, like you were saying, like you kind of just know what is expected.
Yeah.
And so you don't really get many notes. And so she wasn't really directing me and Drake at that time. So like, it was just be us two on stage messing around and she wouldn't really say anything. But then we got to that last scene with everyone and she was like changing blocking or just like, people were trying to do their own thing, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I'm like, how we? I was like, I got pretty heated. Also, there were some people in that cast that I just was like really mad at because they were just being complete assholes to everyone, and I was like, why? I'm like, there was other shows that year that were like had issues, and I'm like, stop. There's no need.
Yeah,
we can all be friends. Hear me out.
That's right.
Yeah,
I think I did come and see that show.
Was that like the last? Did you come see that show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think the only other show that everyone went to from like friends back home was my sophomore year, the Silent Sky.
Silent Sky, yeah, I did go to that.
And that one was good.
That one was really good.
The set was, I think that might have been the best set I've ever been on. They killed it.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's a fun story too of how that show happened.
I mean, it was cool to be in the audience and see Peter and the Starcatcher in a way that like, oh my god, wait,
I think we had
the discussion
after like you came up to be like, so that's what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah. Also, I mean, audience perspective of a show that you have been in is kind of cool.
I went to Oklahoma in Milwaukee on one of their stages, and that was kind of a unique experience. It was a smaller stage, but like they had a full house kind of vibes.
Oh, cool.
And so it was just like farmhouse, and so it was like how it was unique to see the difference and like be like, oh, okay, so this is how they took it and changed it, because I think it's very different to see it in person compared to like online or something like that. But no, okay, you know what's funny? As we're talking about musicals, I was at work today, and I'm working in the factory over summer, and today was like one of the hottest days. So it was like I got in at 5 a.m. and it was like already 80 degrees in there, and I'm like, we're just blowing hot air at this point because they got fans, you know, and it just kept getting warmer. But I was like I was working. There's some other stuff going on, and I was like, okay, what like you got 10-hour shifts, so it's like, what am I gonna do these chunks? You know, I was listening to my sports stuff first 2 hours, you know, because that's the best radio is in the morning at 5, you know, and then the second one came, and I was like, like there's really nothing I want to listen to, and I was like, we're gonna listen to a musical. So I listened to Hamilton. Went through the whole Hamilton soundtrack. Nice. I think that was like that, but then I was like, but it was funny because I was like, okay, I'm like, choose your heart. I'm like, right now I'm kicking ass, making money, but like it would be really nice if I was like in a show. Like, but it's like they're both gonna have their differences at heart. So I need to remember this moment of how much I hate this job.
Yep.
But it's paying me money. But it's like, but when I'm like acting in a short film where I'm acting on stage and I'm like really like, I hate this. It's like, whoa. It's like, no, you hate that.
You hate that.
This
more.
is just this is not as bad as you're making it out to be, you know. But okay, so I graduated, went to Oshkosh. You graduated.
Yep.
Oh, before we do that though, your senior year was that
Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the Rain. Okay, and this is what I went at. So this is obviously post-COVID. So we got lucky. Peter and Starcatcher, we closed the next week. COVID happened.
Yep.
So we actually got to do the show. A lot of schools didn't. So that like, I was thankful for that. But Singing in the Rain was COVID.
Yep.
And they did a little bit different in how they casted.
Right.
And what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so what they ended up doing is they split casted the leads,
The 4 leads, right?
the 4
Yeah.
leads. So there were 2 casts of leads, each got to do 2 shows, just in case somebody got sick, which I think was a very reasonable decision.
Yeah.
However, it sucked.
Dude, I would have been livid.
But I
Yeah.
mean, like it was nice to kind of feel that you were not competing with another person, but that
Yeah.
you were learning the same role as somebody else. In like the way that like if somebody get like my
Yep.
opposing lead was your younger brother
Yep.
Isaac,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And like learning the dances was fun because like we
Yep.
each had our own partners, so if one person
True.
was getting it, the other person could just do it and you could practice. You
Yeah,
didn't need
yeah,
the
yeah,
director
yeah.
right there, right? So I think it makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
in the long run.
Yep.
In the short run, it was like,
See, my
Dang
argument
it.
to that is like, do you know what an understudy is?
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
to the directors, not you. I know you do.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like
right.
you could have just had like maybe like those 4 people, you know,
Right.
because
And I mean,
But-
don't get me wrong. I think everybody who got the leads did fit the role that they were casted,
Yeah.
which was tough because like that was one of those years where like we could do a big show. And I mean, we
Yeah.
did, but
yeah, I think it was like an extreme top heavy show in the sense of like, hey, there's only these 4 characters really carry the show,
most definitely.
and then it kind of narrows down that like
Yes.
almost that whatever sand glass, whatever.
Hourglass.
Thank you, hourglass. Fuck. Yeah, no, but I feel like most of their shows since then, they've done that split lead. And I'm like, bro, if I was in high school and they were
Yeah.
splitting leads, I'm like thinking back to like shows I've done, I was like, I would have been like, what is the point of learning and taking on these massive roles if I'm only gonna like if we did 2 weekends?
Yeah.
Sure, cool. Like, I don't mind that because I
Right.
still get to do 4 shows.
Right.
But we're doing 1 weekend still, and so I'm putting this 3 months of every night rehearsal, all these nights after rehearsal, memorizing lines and whatever on top of homework, and it's like to then only be able to perform it twice.
Right.
I mean, if I'm getting paid, that's different,
Right.
but I'm not.
Exactly. Like it truly was your time.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
COVID
out
makes
of-
a little more sense.
Yeah.
Frustration, but it's like, okay, I get it because it was
then,
crazy
and that's
time.
that's what it was. It was also like
But-
I mean, I still got the role that I
Yeah.
thought I should have.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right.
Yeah.
This makes sense. I learned how to tap dance.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you think you could still do it?
oh yeah, I should have brought the shoes.
Damn, we could have had it take rolled up carpet.
I don't want to scratch the floor though.
We can repaint it.
All right, next time.
next time. Yeah.
But I don't know. It was a good time. Like it was tough in that I only got to do 2 after what is it, 2 months.
When
of
did we,
time
usually
spent.
you started in October, or that's when you'd audition, late October, and then you would start rehearsal like mid-November.
Yeah.
Because then we would go into winter break, and hopefully you would have like read your lines, you'd get your book over break. No one would.
Yeah, I never would.
But
do
then you
that.
would go until like late March or early March, depending on the show, and whenever you started rehearsals would be the
I
show.
thought it was February. Was always
Was it February?
Yeah.
I guess I've been out of it.
Because I thought it was like you did like a lot of the music stuff in December, learning the songs, and then it was
Okay.
like, all right, learn your lines, and then it was blocking like first half of January.
I guess because we did my birthday party, and then COVID hit, but that was post-show. It was like that next week.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. When did COVID, Alex? When did COVID like? When did they like start the lockdown or start like the hey last day like we're?
Wasn't it like March 20th?
That sounds right. It was like our spring break.
I was thinking it was like March 20th or March 13th, which I
So
guess
it
would
was
have
like-
been a week away.
It was like our permanent spring break, and then it was like online physics. Here I come.
March
That's fine.
15th.
March 15th.
Yeah.
I was, yeah,
So
I
it
was
was
say,
right
like, that
before-
13th because we would have done the birthday party probably that weekend of whatever the 8th. We would have had that double birthday party. And then, like, I swear it was like that. Oh, we would have watched that movie. We would have watched Blair Witch.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh.
And then it would have happened. Because
Yeah.
you know, it's funny because I remember talking to someone and being like, yo, like, I'm kind of nervous that we could be going into World War III, which is ironic to be saying right now.
Yeah.
But it's like, at that time, I was like things could be escalating with Russia and Ukraine
Right.
to only have it escalate.
Further.
Like, just like that, and like later that year, whatever
Yeah.
that was. But yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah, I
times.
mean, Interesting times, to say the least. Online school.
They do say that teenagers, that's like the second time in your life that like has the most change. It's the second most change. Obviously, the first is like when you're first born.
Well, right.
That's when you have the most change. But the second is when you're teenage years. So, there's a lot cooking.
I barely remember going to online school. I was there. Perfect attendance. But besides band.
Dude, band was actually kind of fire. I remember they needed taps for Veterans Day or what, right? Is it? Yeah, Veterans Day.
Yeah, it's always Veterans Day.
And so Isaac and I did a duet, trumpet and trombone.
Oh, nice.
For like the callback or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like no one else had really siblings that were. It's
right.
like it would be hard to sync up,
Yeah.
And then I think, you know what? I think she made us play "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," but I don't remember what that was for. I just remember that. Yeah. I do remember COVID though for band because I'd always been busy with sports and whatnot, so I could never do extra stuff because it was like a point, like solo ensemble, you'd get a certain amount of points, right? And then the points would earn you awards, recognition for certain things, right?
Yep.
So your letter, you needed like 1,000 points, and like by just being in band, by the end of your sophomore year, you'd get the letter kind of thing. But like if you didn't do anything above that, you really wouldn't get any of the other awards. And so I think I got like half of the awards, and I've never seen anyone really get all the awards because that means like all you do is band is like the only way to get the award. But COVID clutched up for me because she was like, hey, like because I know some like we don't have pep band, we don't have all these things like that we can do.
Right.
Like all these kids are at home. It was a really cool idea. All these kids are at home and they don't have either parents there or they don't have like bedtime stories to read or whatever. So like what we're doing is we're partnering with the elementary school to like have us kids in the band read these stories or whatever to these younger kids. And so what it was is like maybe you got like 50 points if you read a book, and then you get like a bonus 200 if you played like an instrument behind your reading of it.
Oh.
And then it was like a picture book would get you like a certain amount of points.
Right.
A chapter book would get you whatever kind of thing. And so I remember being like, shit, I'm like, the door is open.
Nothing
now.
else to do.
I'm like, the door is open. I could get all of these points that I'd like, I don't know if I needed like 5,000, like some crazy amount.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, all right, we about to like pump out books like no tomorrow. And so I just remember like every day I was reading like 6 books and like uploading them to YouTube. And then I was like, finally got the confidence to be like, if I just played an instrument behind it,
even more,
we would clutch up. And then that's like when I learned the tenor sax. So I did Nate the Great, the first book of Nate the Great. Do you know that series?
I do not.
It's okay. It honestly was like one of the only series I read when I was young. I hated reading when I was younger. It was the only series that my dad and mom could get me to like read.
Actually read.
Kind of read it and be like kind of somehow interested into it. But it was just like this guy who'd go on like these funny like investigations kid chapter book or whatever.
Nice.
And so I did one of those and like maybe took me like 23 minutes to read the whole thing.
Right.
Like just straight flipping page or whatever.
Yep.
But then I like picked out a jazz song I played on my trumpet like behind it, like a Chet Baker.
Nice.
Like, and then there was the one that I liked the most, and it's like a book that like my mom would have read to me was Alex, you're gonna have to look this one up for me. On YouTube, look up Whitrock Jordan. Because this was like the YouTube I used for everything until I made my actual one.
Yeah.
And it should just have like a J with white behind it. Tell me if you find that account. But anyway, that's the account that has that. I think the book's called like I'll Love You Forever or something like that. And it basically it's just like a book about a mom or whatever that would like that just like holds the baby and it's like I'll love you forever, whatever, and it's like goes through a period like the kid becomes a teenager or a toddler and like starts, not maybe hanging around or whatever, and the mom's like, hey, whatever you do, I'll love you forever.
Yeah.
And then like it ends though with like the mom being old and then like the son is holding her and like saying
nice,
right.
right.
And so it's just like that like handing over, and the what's the song? I can sing it. I can hum it. It's the dun 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 da 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 dun da 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 dun 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 dun.
Heart breaks. Dun dun dun.
I will always be waiting for you, darling. Don't be afraid. I will love you for 1,000.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yep. That is the song right there.
Wait, what did you want me to find? I'm on your YouTube now.
Wait, are you in my YouTube? Oh, you just logged in? Oh, I just meant to look up.
No, not logged in. Like I'm on your J.
Oh yeah. Okay, look down. It's just like it is a book with a kid in it.
Love You Forever book.
Thank you. It's the Love You Forever book. Yeah,
Crushed
okay.
it.
That's what we needed. All right. But I remember I played that one on the sax, and I was
Nice.
like, that was the only song I played on my sax, and I was like, ooh, that shit was pretty fire. Turns out, recently I tried to play my sax. I hadn't played it in forever.
Yep.
One of the keys isn't working, so I was like about to throw my sax because I was like, mother, how come I can't play? Like
Yeah.
I can play 2 octaves.
lost it.
I can play 2 octaves. And I was like, I know I haven't played it in forever.
Yeah.
But like, it shouldn't be like I'm like blowing only air through. It's not making any noise, and
Yeah,
I'm like
yeah.
doing every lip technique that I can get the dumb reed to like vibrate, and I'm like losing my mind. And then I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like, what if one of these keys is messed up? And so as soon as I go looking, I see one of them's open, and I go to close it, and it closes and then opens again. So it's like it's just like there's something off there, and I was like, okay. I'm not going crazy.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
and then I just like
not
I
me.
forced it closed and then could play all the notes. And I was like, oh, okay, we're not done. Like I was like, bro, I was about to do something, but yeah, no. But that so then I clutched up, did all those books, and then got every single award.
So it's like what? Letter, pin,
It's like
metal.
letter, pin, metal, clock. The clock is one, but then you also get like a plaque. The plaque is like the last one or something like that.
No. I don't think I got the plaque.
Did you get the clock?
I got a clock.
Yeah. Did you do choir?
For like 2 years.
Did those cross over?
I don't know.
I can't
That's a
remember.
good question. I'm actually not sure. Was it always the band and choir banquet or just band?
That's what I don't know.
'Cause that's where it was always
I
handed
think it
out.
was combined, but I think it might have been separate. But if you did music,
I think it was combined.
I think it had to been, which would make sense then if you got the clock just by
Yeah.
doing that. Because you didn't do jazz, right?
Mm-mm.
And I would have done jazz, but I still don't think I would.
I always wanted to, but I never really had time in my schedule
Dude,
for it.
I remember.
'Cause I tried to get ahead as much as I could.
Yeah, I didn't do it my freshman year because I originally was going to take it, and I was kind of. She tried to do it. Something happened where that year she didn't do like jazz 1, jazz 2,
Yep.
like or A and B, whatever you want to
Right.
call it. That year she was like, I'm gonna try to just like throw the kids everywhere, like I'm just gonna try to make the best band mix like out of possible. But I didn't know that. And so then I thought I got put into like I'm looking at the kids in this and I'm like, you're goated, you're goated, you're goated. I have trumpet 1. I don't want to like what? I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And then coming from like, I mean, I was good at my trumpet, but like not like that good or like where you could. I'm not terrible at sight reading, so I need to at least hear it and maybe like plunk out a couple stuff to be able to get close to what's played, you know. And I just remember looking at that music after 2 rehearsals, being like, you know what? This is too much for me. I'm like, I'm gonna see myself out, you know. And then that sophomore year, I went back to do it, which was fun. But then when we did the competition, I ended up with the solo.
This was the one at Eau Claire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like this was the one that like everyone's like, yo, we could actually like make it in the competition or whatever. And I somehow ended up with the solo, and I'm like, mother, I hate soloing. And I was like, I think that was the best solo I could have ever played though. Like, which I was like, honestly. I felt good walking out of there being like, if we don't make it, which we didn't, I was like, I'm fine because I didn't think my solo was bad to be
Was it
like,
full improv?
yeah. Yeah.
Woof.
And there's people in the band that are like, damn it, I should have had the solo or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, yeah, I agree, but like I can't, she won't let me give it to you. So like,
can't
I don't know what you want me to
rewrite
do.
this.
Yeah. She's like, and I like, that was the thing too. It's like we were gonna like, hey, like what if we switched parts because, you know, but I think the thing is like the person would go in and like mix up people. And so if I was on a higher part, I'd get like a harder sight reading piece or something like that. And she didn't want that. She was like, well, no, like I have it here for a reason for the event that we get a hard piece or something that would be like the sight reading, which made sense. But I was like, I remember them being like up until that point being like, damn, like if I could have had that solo, like we could. I was like,
We would've
all
won.
right,
We
yeah,
would've won.
cool. Yeah, all right, you do you.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, some of the crazy stuff I forgot about. Did you have any weird competition stuff with music?
Music? Not really.
You kind of just like laid low and then
Laid low.
ended up high.
Yeah.
Were you first chair your last year? Or did you have some insane sophomore or something?
I think I was first chair.
Okay.
There was nobody else really was in the trumpet section close to me,
Oh, okay.
like in age.
Yeah.
I think they're all like freshman, sophomore.
Well, I remember I somehow beat out people, and they were mad because it was the blind audition.
You
You don't know who it is. I'm not
yeah,
gonna say
yeah.
the name, but like, and they were mad, like wouldn't talk to me mad, and it's not like we were that close anyway. So it's like I'm not gonna take it personal, but it's
Right.
like dude, like, and it's like you could challenge, and it's like, dude, if you challenge me, you're gonna get it.
You
So,
you
like,
already have won.
like, yeah, like it's not like a competition. It
Which
just means
honestly,
that you didn't.
I'm sure it was Mrs. P being like, let's just.
No,
Let's
I don't
just
think
meddle.
so. No, because I think I do trust her like honesty of being like, no, like I honestly took these pieces and just kept moving them based on like the quality of whatever I was
that's fair.
looking for, and this is what happened. And like, if you didn't take it serious, you're gonna get penalized for it. You know, like I remember one year, this would have been a year like I was lower chair, but someone literally went through like the whole entire trumpet. Like they just had a bad audition, and they just went through everyone, and then like eventually stopped at like 3. But I was like, damn, that sucks. I'm like to have to, and like it would have been they didn't have to go against me. I was at the bottom of the barrel, you know, at that time. But I was like,
Dude, the bottom of the barrel trumpet parts are.
dude, my freshman year, bottom of the barrel was fun. Like the people that I was in the band, like because the band slowly shrunk as the years went on. But like my freshman year, full band still.
Yeah.
And I remember we had like 5 of us on like trumpet 4 or something like that, or like 4 on trumpet 4.
There was
which
a
is just
lot.
crazy. And I just remember like the people I was around, I was like, they obviously stopped, but playing, you know. But I was like, oh, would have been legendary if they continued because we made good friends, you know.
I mean, I remember Ben and I were always. I think my freshman, his sophomore.
Yeah.
We were on the bottom trumpet parts, and it was so much fun because like we were just playing low notes. It took barely any effort, and we were just playing with the mutes. It was great.
You know what I remember? What did you do and Ben do that got us yelled at during the rehearsal?
I think we were just talking. Yeah, no,
we were not listening to our trumpet 1.
Oh wait, was this during solo ensemble?
That's what I'm talking.
No, that was just Ben.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think Ben just wasn't listening.
But I remember we got jacked.
Oh, it was
bad. Like, I've never been. And we weren't yelled at, but like, I've never been sternly talked to before like that. And I was like, okay.
Like,
what do you want?
I mean, it's like we all knew who it was, so it was like, all right. As he then had to lead the rehearsal after.
That's right.
It was crazy. That was a great time though.
Dude, I remember my senior year. They had no lead trumpets in the 6th hour, so then I had to go into 6th hour, which was fine because I had nothing going on. I had like a study hall, or like my senior year is weird. I only had like 4 classes, and 2 of them were at college, university. So like a 6th hour, I just come in and like played. I played percussion for 6 hours. Like, I learned how to play timpani and all that stuff.
Oh, fun!
It was cool, but then COVID happened, so I never got to actually play a concert, which kind of sucked. It would have been kind of legendary. Like, I didn't know how the xylophones really worked. Like, I remember trying to play those, like the scales with the notes, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I'd come in and actually have to practice it. Like, it was fun, but never got to actually play it. Like, that would have been cool to be able to say that I performed percussion.
Yeah.
In, like,
as a trumpet main.
Yeah, no. But, so you then graduate, and you go Madison. Did you always know you wanted to go to Madison?
Pretty much. I mean, my dad went there, so I knew it was a good school for engineering.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'd always hear him talk about it. And it was definitely one of those ones where it was like, I'm pretty sure Madison's probably going to be the cheapest.
Yeah.
Kind of already knowing that.
Yeah.
And that it was kind of the only school for engineering at the time.
Gotcha.
So I was pretty much dead set on Madison.
And what engineering did you go for?
I went for biomedical engineering. I got direct admittance into the program, which was not like ridiculously hard to do, but it was like, okay, all right, they liked me. But then you have to progress into your program, which means you have to keep a minimum GPA across just math and science.
Did you have issues getting into the program or no?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what. Okay, I thought you meant direct
admittance
what's
was
that?
into the School of Engineering. So I
but they have
applied
to get
to the University of Madison for engineering, and then I got into the
and then you have to
college.
get into your specialty. Is that
correct?
Okay.
So I had to keep a 3.5 across math and science, which freshman year, I wasn't gonna do that. I didn't do that. I had to take Calc 1, Calc 2, and then Chem 1 and 2.
Yep.
Which chemistry I'm fine with. Math, Calc 2, no. So normally you then apply to progress in after your first 2 semesters.
Yeah.
Applied, got denied, which I was like, well, I kind of saw that one coming.
Yeah.
But then they give you a semester extension. So I went back, sophomore, fall, and I was like, all right, I mean, I'm going to do the same thing as I did last semester. Like, I'm still trying. It's not that I'm not.
Yep.
Went back, upped the GPA. It still didn't, meet their marks. Got denied. And I was like, this is stupid. Like, I don't want to have
What
to
year
switch.
is this? What year is this?
This
End
is-
of sophomore or mid
This is
sophomore?
mid sophomore year,
Okay.
right? So you can appeal the decision,
Yeah.
which I did the first time, no avail.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like it was just truly a shot into the dark without shooting anything into the dark. It was bad. But the second time I was like, you know what? Screw this. Like I'm going to write an essay. I really don't think it's fair that I keep getting denied even though like I've showed improvement, cuz that's like half of what they're looking for.
Yeah,
is like just like improvement and effort, right?
Yeah.
Did that, applied. I was the first appeal they've ever accepted into their program,
Really?
which is ridiculous.
What did you write?
I mean, basically what I wrote is like my main goal for going for biomedical is to work in diabetes because I'm a diabetic, right?
Yep.
To work in diabetes, medical devices, to help out people like me just because that firsthand experience gives you a lot on anybody else. So what I wrote was basically like, hey, I came here for this because my experience is going to help me do this, and I need a degree to do this. And if I can't get it here, I'll get it elsewhere. And they accepted me. I mean, it worked great. Like, and part of it that helped was the department chair, Dr. Puccinelli.
Okay.
Great name, by the way.
Yeah.
He was a diabetic, is a diabetic, or his son's a diabetic, somehow is related to diabetes in a way. So it's like he kind of knew, he understood. But the best part about it was senior year, BME, you get to go on a bar crawl, right? I know. Quite the pivot.
So it was
but
the long haul.
we-
you were looking past, for
Exactly,
the future. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
No, senior year. So we went on this bar crawl this spring,
Yep.
even though I'm not graduating. And the Puccinellis come along because him and his wife both work in the BME department.
Okay.
So we're probably on bar 3, and they're somehow still with us.
Yep.
Like they're still hanging out. They're
Because most
still
times
ordering
the
drinks.
professors are like,
they're
we're
gone
done.
after like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
bar. So we get them like a fishbowl at Wando's.
Okay.
Died.
What's a fishbowl?
Okay,
for people that
fishbowl
don't know,
is-
and me.
Is a bunch of ice in a like plastic fishbowl.
Yeah.
Right. They pull a bunch of liquor in it, and then something that has like food dye in it. So like blue curacao, or like green like melon stuff that basically like dyes it like a specific color.
Okay.
It's awful. It's never good. It's never been a good thing. But we bought them one because they had this like picture before they were married of them at the certain bar with the drink, right?
Okay, yeah.
But it was so nice because he was sitting at our table and like I got to turn to him and shake his hand and be like, hey, I have yet to unpin the email saying that like my appeal's been accepted, and like you were the first person to like tell me and like invite me to the class. Like I just want to say thank you. And he was like, oh, I mean, yeah, I mean it's no problem. As I'm sure he didn't remember. But it was like, I mean, I finally got like full circle. I was able to personally thank him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun so far.
Yeah,
I'm ready
and-
to be done.
And what was cool is that you took a semester off to do internship, which isn't like
That was much needed. I don't
Yeah.
think I'd still be in school if I had not taken like a semester off, just because it was a lot
just
of
a
work.
grind. Yeah.
Yeah, especially like with the whole getting into the program. But Atlanta was great. I mean, it's certainly a place I don't think I'll ever live.
Yes, you went to Atlanta, Georgia. And what company did you work for?
I worked for Kimberly-Clark.
Okay.
In their professional division.
Yeah.
Which just does like business to business sales.
Okay.
But I worked in the PPE department, so I made gloves and masks and cut sleeves.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was fun.
And how do you think, or do you think it was just a good break from school more than just the experience you got there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not only was it a break, I mean, the money was really nice.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I was
It was
actually
expensive
making...
to live down there.
It was really expensive. Like, I didn't make that
I was
much
gonna
money.
say, yeah, we needed
But
to clarify
on
that.
paper, I made money. Just the rent kind of took most
you
of
didn't
it.
have much of it to show for.
But it was great. Bought a mountain bike, explored the city,
Yep.
visited Savannah.
Yep.
Didn't get to go golfing, but I'll do that eventually.
I want to do that at some point too down there. Be kind of fun.
Those courses just have to be great.
Well, and actually, when we were gonna go down there, the PGA Tour was doing one of their golf courses around the area. I think in South Carolina. It was like one of their.
You've got Augusta.
Maybe it was that one. I don't remember.
'Cause Augusta's on the border between.
I just remember watching it
and
on the
Georgia.
airport TV or whatever.
Yeah. It was probably Augusta.
Yeah. So you have one more semester.
One more semester, 10 credits. Should be super easy. I've got class Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. So
Yeah.
not too bad.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
That's it.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm taking what? 4 classes.
Yeah.
Three meet on Tuesday, Thursday. 1 meets for 50 minutes on Wednesday. So
Okay. All right. Hey, you gotta love it.
yeah.
I never. So I know like Madison, their big thing. Like ours was Oshkosh's is pub crawl and Madison's is Mifflin.
Yeah.
And I just remember based on shows and stuff that I had going on, I could never make it that week.
Right,
So I think
right.
our friend group's gone down there like 3 times, depending on
Yeah,
houses
that's
or
about
whatever.
right.
And I never made any of them. And so I think this last spring, I hit you up like way earlier, and I was like, "Yo, I'm like, I want to come down to visit you, whether it's on Mifflin or not, or like whatever." Like,
Yep.
and then like we got like close to like the end of the school, and I was like sitting there, I was like, "Oh, I never asked like." Actually, I think I was talking to Alex. We must have been just finishing up a podcast episode, and you were talking like, I might go to Mifflin. I was like, I haven't talked to Micah like forever about like going down to see him. I was like,
Yeah.
I bet I wonder if he's gonna do anything for that, because that'd be probably a good time to visit him or
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
And so I remember like reaching out to him and be like, yeah, you could probably come down here. Like there's not a lot going on. And but in my mind, I'm like, oh, like from what I've heard is like you're kind of offbeat the beaten path of like the school and that standpoint, just talking about like where you're living and stuff. And so I'm like, oh, this would be fun. Like we'll walk to like wherever Mifflin is and like get to see it a little bit, and then probably head back and do some beer darts or something, because we'll have like lawn that or whatever area that we have availability. So I remember like I got lucky, so I got up early, drove down there, and then the tower I was gonna park in was full.
Right.
So then I was gonna like have to go find a new one, but as soon as I turned around to go find a new one, a car pulled out. So I pulled in and took the last spot again. I was like, let's go. And so then I walked to your place or whatever, but I didn't really pay attention to like the street names, and I don't know Madison's street names, right? So it's like I was like, okay, this is the address. This is where I'm walking
Parked
to,
like
right?
2.5 blocks.
And which I got lucky because one of your roommates was like, I think maybe I did knock. Did I knock? I can't remember. Or if they just happened to open the door right when I was... No, someone was leaving.
I think
someone was leaving
yep.
because I walked there and they're like, oh, you must be Jordan or whatever. And I was like, yes. No. And I had like a bunch of stuff in my hands or whatever, And then we walk in or whatever and we're talking, hanging out. And then they leave to go do something. So you got a chance to catch up, talk about life and all that kind of good stuff. And then the day's like progressing or whatever. And there was like a little house party like in the back or whatever that I saw out the window. And... So then we get to the point where we're like, oh, like, we should maybe, like, let's go to Mifflin or, like, go see what it is, And you're like, yeah, like, we could go, like, just, like, sneak out the front because we'll probably keep the back door closed because it could get crazy, But I'm just like, oh, yeah, it makes sense, like, Madison, bigger city, Yep. And so we go out the front door and we walk around. And it turns out that I had only been looking out your backyard or your side yard through one window.
Yep.
But had only really seen the same people.
Right.
To then walk around your house and your backyard is Mifflin.
Yes.
Like where all the kids are hanging out is where your house is. And I'm like, what the? I just remember walking there and I was like, what?
And this year, I felt like it was kind of tame this year.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people.
I felt like there was a lot of people. Obviously, I haven't been there in prior years, but I did feel like there was a lot of people. Like... Maybe for like a shorter period of time before it fanned out. But like when we went to go get food afterwards, it seemed pretty busy still, like within the city.
Right.
Whether that's people going to the bars that night.
That whole day is just like if you don't live there, you don't really want to be there.
And I didn't realize that like, I didn't realize some of the stuff that goes on there in the sense of like, how blessed I was that you were right there. Your house was there. Because at first I was like, oh, like, oh, that's just crazy, but then I was like, oh, thankfully Micah lives here.
And we have the couch on the front porch, so like the amount of people watching, so much fun.
Oh, and then like your one roommate was like, was dating, I don't know, they still could be the French guy, right?
Yes,
or not dating. It wasn't your roommate, but his roommate's friend. Yeah. But I remember I just ended up talking to him. I was like, okay, I'm like, like how, because he was studying abroad, and I was like, it's like when you think of America, like obviously we think of like our bigger wars are like boom, 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 you know, like Civil War, Revolutionary, World War II. I was like, what like, but our history is only 250 years, right? I think we just celebrated 250, right? And so it's like, so I was like asking, I was like, so like what kind of big things are in French's history, because like France has a long history. It's an old country, so it's just like interesting. It's like obviously these 5 wars that have happened in 200, like their country's been around for like 2,000 years, whatever that is. So it's like where the Franks or whatever were before, but it's like what are some of the big, like, is Napoleon that big of a deal for you? Which he was like, like yes, but like not really,
Right.
you know. But it was so funny because just the way that he talked about his history, it was like, oh yeah, it's like one of those like very like it's weird to think that Napoleon's not that big. Or he's like, well, and then what you're seeing now is like people saying Napoleon is him, like he's like a good guy, like what he did kind of thing, and like we wish he would have, like, you know, it's like it's so interesting to see like those, like it'd be kind of like us going back and be like, damn, like maybe the Confederates had something there, you know. It's like that doesn't make sense. You know, it's like that doesn't add up, you know. It's like like I can maybe understand them trying to financially make it happen, but it's like, yeah, but there's a lot of cruelty going on. You know, it's like we can't have that, you know. Yeah. But anyway, so I think it was that might have been one of the most fun parts, was just talking to him and learning about French history. And
those two are just such a blast. Because like one now has moved back, gone back to university, and the other one's back for the summer. He'll be back to Madison this fall.
Yeah.
But slight tangent, but like probably like a week after or something.
Yep.
We threw another party at our house where we were like pre-gaming, and it was like, I think people were just about to leave, and he was like, Micah, you have to come to France. We have to go camping. And like he was pretty drunk at the time, but it was like, yeah, absolutely.
I would love to.
Like, why not? Yeah, I'll go camping. Hell yeah.
Dude, I wonder what like camping in France is like, if it would be the same as here.
Well, they have the mountains, right?
You know,
they've got, and it's a smaller country, so like I feel like you kind of.
That's true. I always think when I always think of like a European country, I like for some reason my mind goes into like a European map.
You're right.
And so then when it's like France is very big compared to other countries in Europe, and so like
it is.
But then it's like, oh, put that up against the United States,
right.
It is not the same story, you know. But it's like it's so funny because I was like, oh, but hey, I guess when Napoleon was around, it was bigger. But then clutch up Thomas Jefferson buys it with the what was it called? History quiz.
The Louisiana Purchase.
There it is. Let's go, Alex. I wasn't gonna pull that up or whatever. And then we got Lewis and Clark making our journey. But yeah, sweet.
Mad respect to them.
Big time. Top G. Dude, that might be the coolest. Like our family went to St. Louis, and we got to see the history of Lewis and Clark. You know, good and bad, but
I've never actually really learned about Lewis and Clark.
It is a cool story. I think it's hyped up a little bit. But also, like, the journey they did is kind of insane. Yeah. So, like, I'll give them that as well. You know, you hear all those, stories of expeditioners that, like, go out and then, like, they have, like, a ship of, like, 20 guys going down the Mississippi River or whatever that is, and they come back with, like, 2. Right. And it's like, ooh, yeah. And they're starving. Like, sticking bones, you know? Yeah. I don't know. Have you ever watched, Alex, this is for you too, have you ever watched Outlander? Yeah, Outlander, the TV show, not the movie.
I don't think so.
Okay, there's a scene in one of like the later seasons.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna ruin it because like it'll ruin it. But there's a scene where they're like some insane stuff happens, and I'm realizing I really can't say anything because it kind of ruins a lot. So I kind of put myself in a box here, you know.
All right, so watch Outlander.
But but it plays like a song that doesn't fit the scene, but it fits it because of it.
Because of the scene?
Yes.
But it also
there's like a lot of violence in the scene, but it's not a violent song, if that makes sense.
I see.
And it's like one of those where it's like, huh. But then it's also like, that's like the vibe of like what it could have been back then. Yeah. Like whatever country, you know.
We're talking like end of the first Kingsman. In the underground bunker.
No, we're talking before that.
What?
I don't know where you are.
I'm comparing like the scene.
Oh,
like you know where it's like the nice classical music going, completely non-violent as people's heads are being blown off.
Maybe not that much violence, but yes.
Got it,
something like that. Yeah.
Similar vibe.
Yeah, similar vibe. But I would recommend. Actually, if you're under 18, don't watch it.
Maybe don't.
And also, just like you could skip through some stuff, but. And with that, maybe we should get out of this episode. So we'll take care of you. Thanks everyone for watching this episode of the Jordan Whitrock Show. Thanks, Micah, for coming on. Hopefully we'll have you in future episodes, which we should. I think we'll be able to. And if you got this far in the episode, consider dropping a like, subscribe to the channel, do all that good stuff, and we'll see you next week. Peace.